Hello and welcome to Mags and Tilson once again. This is the 53rd annual Chief Blackhawk swap meet, and I'm in Davenport, Iowa. And I'm here on the last day. Actually, most of the bikes are already gone, but I'm going to film some of the ones that are still here. So sit back and enjoy the show, and we're going to film some beautiful vintage Indians and some vintage Triumphs as well. Now, I did film some of the swap meet tables with all the parts on them, and I'll bring you that next week in part 2, and you're going to be quite surprised. Some of these prices are way out there. So right now, just sit back and enjoy the show. And I decided to come here at the last second, and I didn't realize this was the last day. So like I said, a lot of the bikes are already packed up and gone, but I'll film what I can over here today. And it came so late, I missed the motorcycle races as well, right at the grandstands here. What a disappointment. But I'm going to plan for next year, and I'm going to get here on the very first day, and I'm going to film the whole show. And I guarantee there's going to be a lot more bikes, and I'll be sure to bring you next year's show at Davenport 2025. Again, this is a Chief Blackhawk show. This is one of the biggest swap meets in the whole country. People fly in from all over the world to come here. What a shame I got here on the last day. I'll take a look at this 1975 Sportster, I think it is. Let's have a look. You know, I'm thinking of next year, I'll bring in my 1968 Sportster XL CH up here, which is has only 12,000 miles on it, and it has never been touched before. And I may bring my 1970 XLH up here as well, and I may enter both of them inside the show up here. Okay, now this is a very comfortable air-conditioned room over here where they show a lot of these beautiful vintage Indians. It's very comfortable in here. They have a lot of food vendors up here as well, and vendors selling parts from all kinds of motorcycles. Table upon table upon table upon table. Just loaded with parts. Except by the time I got here, most of the vendors were already packed up and gone. But I'll show you what I can. I've been coming to the show for the past 28 years. And each year it's a little bit different. And a couple years ago I was up here and it was raining like crazy. and the field was all mud. It was really something. One thing I'd like to point out, I happen to notice that I didn't see one Harley Davidson shirt. I didn't see one Harley Davidson hat. I didn't see anyone wearing any Harley Davidson shirts, jackets, or hats anywhere upon the whole show here. And they have a lot of Harleys up here too. A lot of old vintage Harleys. Just gorgeous bikes. Right, next year's 2025 theme is going to feature 1980s bikes. So that should be pretty interesting. Of course, we're going to have a lot of Indians up here and a lot of vintage Harley Davidsons and Hondas, Kawasaki's, BMWs, you name it, it's going to be here. I see a lot of early, very vintage Triumph parts and BSA parts as well. You could find any vintage parts up here. They're all up here, it seems. I mean, the prices are not cheap either. They are show prices. And so they knock your eyeball out, let me tell you. But if you really need them, they are here. Some of the vendors are pretty good price, though. They're not too bad. I have talked to quite a few of them. And I've gathered their cards in case I need parts. And I tend to talk to a lot of people up here. I'm not a shy person. I go up to anybody and start talking to them about their motorcycles and about parts and things like that. So I have a lot of fun. Except next year's going to be a different story. I'm going to get here on the very first day. And I'm going to film everything I can, talk to a lot more people, I think, and look at a lot more parts and bikes. And take a lot of film as well. And I'll bring that to you next year. Now, most of the time I don't ride up here. I take my SUV just in case I want to buy some parts and things like that, so I have the room to bring them back. It wouldn't make any sense to ride a motorcycle up here unless you're not planning on buying any parts or anything. So, I like to go through all the tables and see what they have. And, you never know. You might find something that you've been looking for a very long time and get a pretty good deal on it. And so this way I have my SUV and I can just throw it right in the back and I have the room for it. Look at this beautiful Henderson. This was my favorite one here. I loved it. I was looking at this for a very long time. What a gorgeous motorcycle. What a gorgeous bike. Back when I was a young kid, I used to work on my motorcycles underneath an apple tree. And I had an old man who lived next door to me, and he used to have a lot of old bikes too. He would tell me about his Henderson and his Excelsior that he used to hill climb all the time. And he would hand me tools over the fence or nuts and screws and bolts that I didn't have. And he had a big long cane, and he would poke it over the fence. He would point out things that I should do and things like that. He was a great old man. He was a great guy. He was a great influence on me at that time when I was very young. And he enjoyed standing there over the fence watching me work on all my motorcycles. And it brought him back to the time when he was a young kid. He was a great guy, a really wonderful man. Yeah, lots of times I was very, kind of intensely working on my bike. and I'm looking at it, I'm checking things out, and I didn't know he was standing there. And all of a sudden, his cane would come right over the fence, and he would poke at my bike, and he would tell me, "Now what the hell you doing, Mikey?" And then I was kind of jumping, bump my head on something, you know. It was always like that. But he was a great guy. He was really a character, too. Now, a lot of people camp out up here. They have a lot of area and space to camp out, and it's only $45 for the whole weekend, so it's very reasonable. And you see a lot of people pitching tents here and spending the weekend here. They watch the races or buying parts and looking at all the vintage bikes, and they have a great time up here. It's always crowded. You have people coming here from all over the world buying parts. I see flags from all kinds of countries as well. A lot of people from the EU come up here to buy parts. I was checking this guy's bike out. Now, these are the kind of bikes that I really like. This guy actually rides his. It's, let's see, it's got 12,647 miles on it. He's got his helmet, his jacket, and his gloves, his saddlebags on this bike. And you can tell that he really rides this bike. Check out those saddlebags. Look at the patina on this bike. It's really something. What a beautiful Indian. And I was talking to Curly up here. He sells a lot of old Indian parts. And he bought the parts slot out from somebody else. And now he's selling them now. So I had a chance to talk to him right at the end of the show when he was starting to pack things up. Now here's a lot of vintage Triumphs. Absolutely gorgeous bikes. Very well done. Check out this one. I love the gauges and all the little chrome parts, and you know, they're very detailed. And I love the exhaust systems on these bikes. Absolutely gorgeous Triumphs. Check these out. Absolutely beautiful. Well, it's time to go home. I only spent an hour and a half at that show after driving all this way, but that's okay. Next year, like I said, I'll be here the very first day of the show, and I'm going to film the whole thing. And here I'm crossing the Mississippi River, going right back into Illinois. I want to thank you guys for watching Max and Tilson once again, and I hope you enjoyed the Chief Blackhawk 2024 Motorcycle Vintage Show. At least the tail end of it. And thanks again for watching Mags and Tilson. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. You take care of yourselves.